Well, today's Sunday, September, 22nd or 23rd? This time of the year, or most of the year, I don't ever pay any attention to what the day is. But anyway, we had a good day today. We're in our fall weather pattern now with lots of rain and wind and storms and stuff like that. We just got through a storm period there for the last few days where it blew 30 or 40 and we had probably about 3 inches of rain or so. And there's another storm coming in now. Actually supposed to hit tonight and tomorrow with more wind and stuff. Well, we kind of had a bonus day today, overcast, and it was blowing a little bit, but not too bad. Had a little mist once, but it didn't rain today. Well, my son came over. He was bored. He didn't have anything else to do, and he wanted to help doing something. So I've been working on getting these boards milled up and stuff for the addition on the house. And we did that here last week, the last couple of weeks, and I got those all done. Well, anyway, I've got enough there to do what I need to do with the addition on the house. Here's the addition on the house. Everything's crooked here because I'm on the side hill and I'm too lazy to set my tripod up so that it's level. But anyway, there's the addition on the house. Its floor is all framed in on it. Well, I got SIP panels for the walls, but I don't want to do anything to that to finish it until I've got everything ready to go together because of all the damn rain in this country. I got to do it when it's dry. So anyway, I want to get all the material all prepped up beforehand. And one of the things I want to do is make some trusses. I'll make some trusses to match the pitch of the roof on top of the house, which is a 5/12 pitch. Well, anyway, I've got the plan for that. I've got the 2x6s cut for that for the rafters, but rather than using 2x6s for the cross member that goes across the bottom, I could just as well use 2x4s for that. We also had a bunch of 2x4s that we salvaged here a few years ago. Well, I built this shed here several years ago. I set up with racks in it that I could put my wood in to dry it when I milled it on the chainsaw mill. Anyway, that's had a mishmash of wood in there, all kinds of stuff. Flitches and stuff that come off the sawmill would go in there instead of going in the stack with the rest of the wood. And of course those 2x4s were all the way down at the bottom of one of those stacks. So my son come out this morning and we ripped a couple of those stacks apart and sorted some of the wood out and got them all stacked up, and I think I got 15 20-foot 2x6s out of there, and then a bunch of other odds and ends 2x6s as well as some other stuff. So we stacked those up and set them over here on top of the wood that I'd planed out the other day, and then that pile was getting pretty messy in there. It was hard to get anything out of it that I wanted or know where it was. So I went through the whole pile and kind of resorted it out. I'm going to need some 6 3/4 inch wide boards to use for sill plates and top plates for those SIP panels when I put them in. I thought I was going to have to buy some, but I get to looking in there and I've got enough boards in there in that one stack that I can rip down and stuff and get what I need out of that. So that was good going through all that stuff. Anyway, I've got a whole bunch of stuff there stacked up now, and it's set up better where I can get what I need out of there. At least the ricks are. I still got a heck of a mess over there on the offside where I just pile junk up to get it out of the way. I don't even know what I got in that pile anymore. I have to go through it one of these days. Actually, I should tear all that wood out of there, stack it up, and cover it like I've done the rest of the wood, and then tear that shed down, fill that hole up with rock, and make a pad out of that. But I don't really have time to do that right now. Or at least I don't want to take the time to do that right now. So anyway, we got a good day. My son helped me, and we got that wood all moved out of there, and now it's lined up to where we're closer to getting ready to start putting things together anyway. Well, it's starting to rain now. The storm's starting to come in pretty good, so I better go put this camera away. They say this camera's not waterproof. Well, we had a pretty nice day yesterday. It's been raining pretty heavy, and it rained so hard the night before last that I thought it was going to come right through the metal roof. In fact, I thought I should go outside and check the truck and the airplane and see if they had dents in them. Probably about 3 inches of rain day before yesterday and overnight, and then yesterday was a pretty nice day, and I actually got some work done outside. Well, it poured down rain again overnight and most of the morning, and then it started clearing off a little bit, so I started working on getting that plywood out of here, that 3/4 inch plywood that I had stacked and stickered. It had been in here for a couple weeks and was pretty well dried out. It dried out pretty nice. So I said I fixed up a spot for it up there on the pad by the septic tank. I opened up the door here, and then I moved that stuff up there between rain showers. And it's kind of funny because it'd be clear blue sky out there and sunshine in 1 minute, and then it just started raining and raining hard, and then it was just like somebody shut off the faucet. It had just quit. Well, anyway, we got all the plywood moved and stacked out there, and I got the cover on it. I'd built a metal cover for it before that had kind of come off and let the plywood get wet. I got that put on, and I got it all sheeted around it and everything with some house wrap so it'll stay dry. And we got that metal cover on there just as the rain started pouring down. So while we were working on it, the water was sheeting off of that metal roof and coming down on my back and stuff. It got pretty wet. But anyway, we got that plywood out of here. I still got the 1/2 inch plywood in here. I'm going to do something else first with it. So I've got to make trusses for that addition onto the house, and the trusses are going to be 24 foot wide. So I've done a couple of things here. There's a roofing guy that has a spot on the internet that has myroof.com, and he's got a program on there where you can design trusses. So I went on there and I designed a truss for the addition on the house. I'm going to need 7 trusses, but 6 of them can be simple trusses. And this is a design I come up with here. It's just got the bottom cord, 2 top cords here, rafters, and then what they call these webs or braces in here. Got a king post and then a couple braces in here. 6 of the trusses can be that. But then 1 truss is going to be the end panel, and that one has to have sheeting put on it, so I designed a different truss for that with a lot more of these vertical webs in there to nail the plywood up to, the sheeting up to. Well, that comes up with all the cut list and everything that you need for that, but my cut list is going to be a little bit different. My top plate and bottom plate are going to be these dimensions here, but my top plate is going to be a 2x6 and the bottom plate is going to be a 2x4. And all the web pieces then will be 2x4 too. Well, here's a list of the materials, purchase list, all on there off that one website, which is pretty good. But what I've done in the past is go on the internet and find truss designs, and I bought these. This is a book on truss designs or glued trusses. It has engineered plans in here for that. And I've actually got the blueprints from them someplace for the trusses. This tells how to build them and stuff. This is from Midwest Plan Service, the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It actually comes from the Iowa State University Engineering Department, but you can get this book from the Department of Agriculture. And it discusses all the engineering aspects and stuff you need to on the trusses. They've got different designs, and this book actually has engineered designs on it for trusses up to 60-foot span, clear span trusses. Talks about the roof load and the dead load and the live load and all that kind of stuff. And these are plywood gusseted trusses, and that's what I'm building, is a plywood gusseted truss. So that's why I wanted to get this book out, was because it shows how to make the plywood gussets and stuff, and how the nailing pattern. Well, this tells you the type of wood to use. And one of the things that's interesting on here is they say you can use 3/8" plywood or 1/2" plywood, and there's no point in going to 5/8" plywood or 3/4" plywood, because the shear strength of those are not any more than the 1/2" plywood. In fact, they recommend for places where you need to double extra strength on it, that you just double up 1/2" plywood and not go to 3/4" plywood. Well, anyway, it's got the specs for the plywood. It's also got the engineering specs for different groups, the different lumber to use. And this is one of the things I was interested in, is splicing. Because I've got a 24-foot span, and the lumber that I've got, the 2x4s that I have, are only 20 feet. So I was assuming that I could cut two 12-foot 2x4s and splice them together at this joint right here on the bottom cord. But this engineering book says not to make your splice there, to make it offset from that, and it shows how to make the splice and everything there. So that was good to dig out, to find. Oh, it's got nailing patterns in there, which type of nails to use, glue and stuff like that, and how to put the trusses all together, how to diagonally brace them or brace them after you put them up, and for different types, whether you're putting it on a sill plate or whether you're putting them on a post and beam. And it's got the roof requirements, ceiling construction and roof requirements, and here is the truss that they've got designed here for a 24-foot span. And they've got it to go on from anywhere from 2 foot on center, 4 foot on center, 8 foot on center, and the different sizes of material they need and everything for the different sizes of trusses. So I'm going to go with 2 foot on center. I could use a 2x4 top cord on there, the top rafter on there, according to this, but the 2x6 gives me more snow load and stuff and stronger, and I'm good with the 2x4 bottom cord on there. So that was one of the things I wanted to find out about, because the trusses that I've got on the house I bought were commercially made, and they're all 2x4 construction. So this is going to be, these trusses are going to be at least as strong, if not stronger, than the ones I have on the house now. So we'll have a 2x4 top cord, I mean a 2x6 top cord, a 2x4 bottom cord, and then 2x4 braces, webs that go up. And they call them webs in there. I don't know what they call them in here. Middle racks, they call them struts and racks. So there's all kinds of different names for stuff. All of it's right, I guess. None of it's wrong. Anyway, that's what I'm working on here now. So what I've done is I've got these sheets of plywood still in here, this 1/2" plywood, and that's what I'm going to make my gussets out of. I've got to determine how many gussets I need, and then here in this design book, the gussets that they have are just square gussets, except for the ones here on the heels or on the end plates here, and those are then designed as a triangle. But what I've done here now is I've come in and I've laid out my trusses. My pitch of my roof is a 5/12 pitch, and since I'm making gussets for this, I wanted to lay out the size of the gussets and stuff. So I've laid out, just on this sheet of plywood right here, a template. I've got my rafters, my top cord pieces here. This is set at a 5/12 pitch. I've got my king post right in here. So now I can figure out a pattern for my gusset that goes here, and then I can go ahead and do the same thing for the bottom. I can just kind of lay these out and figure out what my pattern is for my gussets, and then I can pre-cut my gusset and have those all ready to go when it's time to put the trusses together. The add-on to the house up there, and the floor is framed in on it, but it's open to the weather. I dug out the panels out of my old paint booth that I made, and I stuck those up, and then I've got those 20-foot 2x4s. I was going to put those up and put some plastic over that to kind of dry that in up there, have a dry place to work and to keep all that stuff dry so I could get it all put together. And I got that kind of laid out, but my nailer board that I put up on the house, when I put it all together, is up higher than what I can reach on the ladder that I have up there. So I'm either going to have to get a different ladder up there what I'd really like to do is use this man lift that I've got, but the man lift quit on me last winter. I worked on it a bunch trying to get it going and replace some parts, but I haven't got it figured out yet, and it's got a doggone computer that runs everything, and I don't know whether the computer went bad in it or what's going on. So it got too cold to work on it last winter, and I just let it sit. So I've just now started fooling with it again and started researching in the I've got troubleshooting manuals, a service manual and stuff like that. I started trying to read that and try to figure it out. And I fooled around with it a little bit today, but it's just raining too hard out there to get it going. So anyway, I've got to see what I can do. If I could get that thing running, then that would be ideal for putting this stuff all back together and stuff. I've got to get that man lift going, and that's what I bought it for. So anyway, I'm going to continue on here. I'm just going to lay out, like I said, a pattern for my gussets that I need so that I can just cut them out and have them stacked up and ready to go. So that's kind of one of the reasons I left this 1/2-inch plywood out here. The other thing is it couldn't hurt for it to dry out a little more. And what I needed was to get this side of the hanger over here opened up so that I can get all those tools out of that inflatable paint booth and get them over here. And then if we get some dry weather, I can get that inflatable paint booth taken down and put away. I need to get it out of the way. So. All right, I got to figure out and get this laid out some more and get my gussets cut out.